I asked you to ask me about Miss Coffee, and here are the 22 responses that I got. When do you think she's going to rerun? This is tough because I think that she could rerun sooner than later, but we're also talking about a niche support exactly like Emily, and Emily has not gotten a rerun yet, and she released in 4.8. So it's possible that we see her rerun at the end of 6.0, but it's also possible that we see her rerun around the mid-range of 6.0 series, right? Because I do believe that Skirk and her will be heavily tied together, and Skirk is going to be a very, 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 very profitable character for him, whereas Knitch is not a character who people are like, going crazy over because he's not that good. Well, he's not top tier, right? He's not like he's not a Mavuika, Arlecchino, or Nevi, right? He's not those three. He's good, very good, but he's not those three. So yes, if I had to say one or the other, I would say mid-range 6.0, so maybe 6.5, 6.4. Is Goose on the loose? Now, I don't necessarily know why Miss Coffee let the Goose out, but I just, guys, I would say that beware. The Goose, it will come and attack you, so beware. How strong do you think meta-wise is Miss Coffee's future? Will she age like fine wine? I do not think so. I think we look at Shinha, we look at, Sen Yun, right? Even, if there is another cryo character, there's a very good chance that that cryo character doesn't necessarily want a full freeze team and wants like a new 6.0 support. So I do not think that, meta-wise, this character is going to age good. She has restrictions. We look at Nilu also. She didn't age well, right? It's just going to be a very, very sad day. But, she is set up to age badly. I'll say that. A character who has a lot of restrictions is set up to age badly. But, aging badly when you're on Skirk's team, we'll see how good Skirk is. It's very possible that, oh, hey, we have Skirk. And, immediately that makes Miss Coffee valuable for like 2+ years, right? Because Skirk could easily be in the top 10 for 2+ years. Easily. I'm expecting her to be either better than Mavuika or slightly worse. I'm expecting Skirk to be the second best DPS. So she is going to stay up there for a while because, look at Nevi, right? That guy has been getting constant buffs and stuff. We'll see. All we need is a Hydro or a good Hydro or Cryo character to replace Shinha, and we're cooking. How to get her in one pool only. So what you're going to need to do is summon on a banner before she comes out up to 89 pity, and then you can get her in one pool. Either that or sacrifice a goat. Can Miss Coffee on her own carry a team with supports? So, yeah, I would say so. Given the example that he's giving here, Furina, Xingqiu, Yelan, basically those characters, as long as you're doing normal attacks, the damage is going to be good enough on that team. It's going to be pretty nice. Sometimes I question whether I really want to answer every single question. She's a normal person, from what I understand. Should I get Skirk without Miss Coffee, but with Furina? I think it's probably fine. I don't think that, Skirk is going to, like, require, because like I'm saying, she's probably going to be the second best DPS, second, first best, whichever one it is. And if we're looking at that, a lot of that damage is going to be Furina and Miss Coffee. So, that's not great. But at the same time, we're talking about her being the second best DPS. So, oh, no, you don't have a, puzzle piece to her set. Oh, she's only like top 10 now. Oh no, chat. I think it's not going to be awful without Miss Coffee, but it's probable that it's going to feel very much so worse. I'm not going to deny that. 55% res shred is insane. Shinha versus Yelan when considering C6 Furina in the team. It's probably gonna have to be Yelan for the 45% HP. I think if you have C6 Furina, the amount of damage that you're gonna have, Yelan, tied to that. I don't know what character you're using. Even Ayaka, it's probably still better to use Yelan just because she's already given the 40% damage bonus, and the 45% HP, like I've said, is really good. Although Furina does get a lot of HP percent. C1 versus R1. So we can talk about this. It's C1 if you know you're going to use her for freeze teams, which is where you should be using her. We can actually come over here and I'll show you guys. So her C1 only activates if you have all Hydro or Cryo. I guess it's not even just if you have freeze teams. It's if you're using a main DPS Cryo, right? I would say, because most likely, if you're using Ayato, even still the 60% crit damage might be better. I would recommend get the C1 over the R1, because all the R1 is doing is just giving her extra stats and then 32% attack to the, active character. Or I think it's whoever gets healed. So it's all right, but it's not, attack scalers. We have Fiorina on her team, and then Yelan is the second other Hydro character you would use. So attack scalers aren't super amazing and like highly regarded on her team. It's not like, great. But if we're looking at this for like Skirk usage, where she's going to be cryo, yeah, 60% crit damage support for, Skirk and herself, by the way. Miss Coffee does get that support. I would say that's pretty good. How much ER she needs? I would say 140 plus. I've not really had an issue with my character's ER, and she has 150. I've used her on 140 previously. So I would say, yeah, I would give the edge to, 140%. I would say is a good threshold, because it's really nice if you, somehow start running like triple cryo or triple hydro. Not many characters, want to actually have triple hydro, but if you're using someone like Ayato, I think he activates Yelan and then you would run triple hydro like that. It's possible that you would want, more ER, but 140 is generally where you're at with 2 cryos. Her off-field damage compared to other off-field characters like Shiori and Emily or Fiorina, I think she has the highest damage out of all of them. I think she does. I think she's easily, like, she can do 1,000,000 damage, right? I think she can. I'm pretty confident she can if you have, like, just a setup for her, right? And, like, my build, it's top 20%. I would like it to be more. Really, all that's holding me back, I think, is just, like, the low crit damage or maybe the low attack or something like that. 1,800 attack. I don't think that's, astronomically high. Oh, wow, yeah. That's not astronomically high at all, especially considering I have attack percent here and stuff. Yeah, that's crazy, honestly. Yeah. If we look at a character like Risley, 2,300%, and he has that 985. Yeah, you guys can sort of understand. I'm missing like a lot of attack. I didn't realize that's how low my attack was on him, or on her. That's actually insane. I really did not realize how low my attack was on her, but I mean, she still gets the job done. She still does a lot of damage. So yes, I would say she's probably doing more damage than all those characters, although I don't have Emily R1. I don't have Emily R1, and I've never used Shiori, but Shiori, she just isn't doing that much damage. Well, she's doing damage, but she's not doing Miss Coffee level damage, I don't think. Would you say Miss Coffee is worth it / would stay relevant long term for Nodkarai and Sneznaya? See, it's very hard to predict, because if the Saritsa is a DPS, then Miss Coffee is going to be essential for her freeze teams. Freeze teams with 55% res shred, I mean, we're talking that's going to be essential for her. So if, the Saritsa is a DPS, cool. If the Saritsa is a support, then you're absolutely, there's not a high, like, it's not a 0% chance. I'd give it like a 50-50 whether, Miss Coffee is going to be paired with her at all. So this goes back to will she age well? It all depends on if they actually release cryo characters. It's simple as that. She will be essential for basically every freeze team at this point, but will they actually release cryo characters is the huge thing, right? Because nobody knows, right? Because if they do, then cool. But I mean, we're talking about, we could easily just not get cryo characters. So yeah, long term, I can't really say too much about. I do think she will be useful in the future. It's sort of how Shinha is useful right now, but don't expect her to be, still one of the best supports in the game, because this type of character is going to fall off easily. She's fixed to a team. The moment there's like a character, let's say, I don't know, Electro or something that, gives buffs or something, right? Let's say there's an Eon-san, but better, right? Or something like that. And the new cryo character wants that. Her value goes down by so much. The value of this character, poof, it's gone, because you lose so much the moment you don't want like all hydro or cryo. It's gonna be very, very tricky to recommend, for long-term usage. I don't think this character will stay useful for long-term unless they seriously do not release crazy buffers. Or we could have like, not even Electro, Shielonin, right? Shielonin, but better. Kazuha, but better, right? Whatever it is, but if it's not hydro or cryo, we could be in a little bit of trouble, because I mean, it's something that we got to talk about. Like, it's not great. Shielonin's great. I love using her, but you can't use her with Miss Coffee, right? You can, but you can't, right? Which is stronger, C0 Ayaka with C1 Miss Coffee, or C0 Skirk with C0 Miss Coffee? It's gonna be Skirk. Skirk is gonna blow Ayaka out of the water. We're talking about a 2.0 character we've moved beyond 2.0 characters, guys. We have 2.0 characters. They are not, to put this lightly, they're not good. None of them, not a single 2.0 character has aged well. None of them. You know, we can say that Ayaka's aged well. Oh my god, yeah, she's good now. Yeah, she is. But, like, we're talking about, you know, comparing these two directly on the same team. And right now, Ayaka gets carried by her damage, you know, gets her damage carried by the team, right? That's where she's at. So, Skirk is just going to come out, do more damage than Ayaka, and it's going to just slap her in the face. It's just going to be super easy. And not to mention, you know, something I forgot to talk about with the C1. Skirk doesn't use a crit rate set, you know, because they've, you know, you could see the Skirk set in game. It's very clearly the Skirk set. You know, Skirk doesn't use a crit rate set in game, so her crit damage isn't high, meaning this 60% crit damage is going to look really nice on Skirk. Difference between Arlecchino Seatlali Melt and Miss Coffee Melt. I haven't tested this at all. I haven't. The only thing I could tell you is that Arlecchino's personal damage is just so high that I'm going to give it to Seatlali. You know, that's good. And then another big thing with, you know, these melt teams with, you know, Miss Coffee. Miss Coffee is a single target character. Also, we can talk about that and how she's going to age. She's very much so set up to age out very, very badly, right? She's going to age out very, very badly, I think. You know, just looking at her kit, this is not a kit that survives huge meta shifts. This isn't. You know, she'll be useful for her 55% res shred down the line and 60% crit damage support, but when it comes to her personal damage, it won't be useful soon. It won't be. It's good right now because it's, you know, we're in boss mode crazy, but once we get into AoE, it's not going to be so good. It isn't, because she's only single target. So, yeah, I would give the edge absolutely to Seatlali because Seatlali applies an AoE of cryo, meaning, you know, when Arlecchino does her jab at, you know, the enemies, she vapes for like melts for 400,000 on them, right? And it's just instant death for them. So I would give it over towards, you know, Seatlali very much so. I would not say that Miss Coffee would come close unless you're purely fighting a boss enemy. Then it probably is just, you know, like close to being stronger. I don't know about that, but I definitely would give the edge to Seatlali overall. Is it optimal to burst every other rotation in her regular freeze teams? No. I would say no, because you don't want to do this because you have Fiorina and she's the soul healer, right? She is, well, I shouldn't say soul healer, but she's a healer, and that's mainly the only healer that you have on your team. You could have Kokomi or, you know, other characters possibly, but most likely if you're playing correctly, you're gonna have Miss Coffee as your only healer on, you know, the freeze team. So I would say that realistically, no, it's not optimal to burst every other rotation, especially because most of the time her ER requirements are very low. I would not say that Miss Coffee needs any sort of, I would not say that we're looking crazy. Is Skirk unplayable without Miss Coffee? Well, I can't exactly give you that, you know, answer. I mean, I don't know, but I would imagine not. That would be really crazy if they made her legitimately unplayable without Miss Coffee, and they, like, because at that point it's like you would almost prefer what they did with Mavuika, where they dropped them in the same update, so that way you could understand. Because if you know, skip Miss Coffee, I just don't think that's gonna happen. I'll just flat out say they're not gonna release Skirk and be like, well, you needed Miss Coffee, right? Because, you know, you needed her, right? No, I think Skirk will be good because I assume she's gonna be the second best DPS or first best DPS in the game with Miss Coffee. So, oh no, you lost Miss Coffee, but, you know, actually now you're only top 10, right? That's, you go, oh no, it's crazy. ER requirements for Skirk team, you know, I guess you're running, I mean, you could be running Shinho on the Skirk team. It's whatever your team looks like. I would, again, just say 140 probably. You're good. I'd prefer just to have that 140 mark and then you're good. Have you tried Miss Coffee plus Seatlali with Arle? At C0, it's pretty good, I guess. I would not do it, I'll be honest. You lose so much buff, especially for, you know, me who has C2R1, you know, Arlecchino. It's not, it ain't good, right? We have C2R1 Arlecchino, and I would love to use her more, man. I would love to, but man, I hate this so much. I actively despise, like, this is the worst constellation for Arlecchino now that she's on a melt team. It really is, right? It's possible that the double, you know, cryo could help it out. It's possible. I may try that in tomorrow's video or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, and that is all the Miss Coffee comments and, questions that I got asked. I figured it'd be a fun video, let you guys directly ask me what you want to know about the character, and, I could answer it a little bit. So yeah, if you guys want more of this video series, I had a lot of fun recording this and answering your questions sort of live like this. So yeah, I would, go ahead and, leave a comment below, saying, oh yeah, do more for this. Maybe I'll do it when a character reruns or something, along with my Do I Regret video, because the Do I Regret video is a general whatever, and then the question video, I guess you guys can directly ask me, stuff that you want to know. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.